What's going on, everyone? So I want to talk about Rui Hachimura. Obviously, he's coming off of a great season. I mean, he was fantastic this past season, and he played out of position pretty much the entire season. Talked heavily, right? Rui Hachimura was like one of the guys I repetitively said Darvin Ham is just utilizing him terribly. And even through all the lack of proper utilization, Rui Hachimura still had an excellent season. Playoffs, I know, playoffs were bad. I mean, he was basically non-existent in the playoffs, which was very disappointing. But how much of that was just an outlier, right? You look at the previous years, like if that was like say his only playoff performance was with the Lakers, last year, and then he had this stinker with the Lakers this year, then it's kind of like, but he was doing the same thing the previous year with the Lakers, he was doing with like Washington. So he has a large enough sample size to go, okay, maybe that was just a bad series for him rather than like, and again, he's playing out of position. Darvin Ham's not properly utilizing him. It's just basically having him tucked away in the corner. I mean, JJ Redick even talked about how like, dude, it's ridiculous how much guys were just standing around and there were no real actions or sets being ran, right? Like, so I do think Rui Hachimura has the potential to have a even better season this year, right? You saw the real strides from when the Lakers first got Rui to this past season, right? And a lot of that had to do with LeBron James, right? Phil Handy also. But Phil Handy was the guy that was like, hey, you need to glue yourself to LeBron and just mask him all off season. And he did, right? And he was working out with Phil Handy and he was working out with LeBron, right? Which was great to see. And then you saw those strides that he was able to take. You saw the just improvement in basically all areas that you got with Rui Hachimura. And I'm excited for that progress to continue. I'm excited to get back into training camp and see what happens with him. Obviously, we'll see if the Lakers make a trade. Because if the Lakers do make a trade, then it's probably including Rui Hachimura. But two things that I really want to talk about right now with Rui. One side is the trade side. One side is the continued progress with the Lakers. So I'll start with the continued progress with the Lakers because I know some people are like trades, right? But the continued progress with the Lakers. Right now he is playing for Japan in the Olympics, and he has been great. I mean, he's been balling out, right? Yesterday, well, according to overnight, but yesterday, right, it's Rui Hachimura. Really, he dropped 29 points. Again, special, looked great. But he's done that pretty much all, not necessarily the 29 points, but looked really good playing in the Olympics. And he's going to have several more games. That growth, that continued potential, that just opportunity and game time and all of those things, playing in the group stage and all of that goes a long way, right? Now, there is, and something that I've pointed out, right, and comments more than videos, but, like South Sudan, right, is a great example. You look at that roster, and there were several guys on that roster that some of them are still, like JT Thor, Charlotte, right, Winning Gabriel. Then I'm not mistaken, he played with Memphis last year, I think, but point is that like there were several guys that had played in the NBA. None of them really do anything. Like two of the guys on South Sudan were out of the league in like a year and a half. One, the Clark was drafted by Philly and lasted, or I believe it was Clark, was drafted, I think it was, by Philly, and it lasted like a year. Like, and they just let him go. Like, he had like 2-point averages and like 12 minutes. Like, he just, again, but sometimes you have that representation of your country, right? You have we're playing this team that's very important in the sense of like Team USA. And then sometimes guys, just a different game. And a lot of these guys are familiar with that game because they play that year round, right? So they're more comfortable in that setting, right? Great example is look at like Patty Mills or like Evan Fournier, right? Like look at guys like that in the Olympics or FIBA or whatever. I mean, they play like superstars. I mean, they are like insanely good in the, and then they come to the NBA and it's like, What's this? Like, dude's a bum. Like, why can't we get the Olympic, right? Like, we were even joking about, Olympic Schroeder, right? Like, oh man, can we get, Olympic Schroeder type thing, right? Like, that's a thing that, you see in the Olympics. So there is that argument with Rui of like, is he just like, playing in the Olympics, different game, 3-point lines shorter, right? Certain areas are just, better in today's game. Also, he's more of like a physicality type player rather than that finesse player. So the type of game that they play fits him better. But I don't think that's the case. I mean, we've seen him do that with the Lakers. And when he plays the 4, which is more physical, which is, he doesn't have to be super quick laterally, and the defense against him is not as good as it should be compared to him playing the 3, right? Because you got these long, twitchy, athletic wings that are quick and getting out there, right? So to me, I think Rui is really going to continue to take strides and progress. Also, last little note on him being playing the 4, the best game he has had, I think, if I'm not mistaken, it was like his career high too. It was for the Lakers. He played the 4 when LeBron was out, right? Like every time he played the 4 last year, he had his best game, right? Like a lot of the reasons his averages were so good was because he played at the 4 sometimes, right? I mean, he was also very good just knocking down the 3 ball. He's like 42% or whatever, right? So, there is this okay, I think he can continue to make strides. I think he can continue to improve, get better, get into training camp, work out with LeBron again, work out with guys some more, and let's see him kind of continue to make that progress. He's not like he's 30, right? Like he still has room to grow. He still has room to develop and get better. I still really like Rui. Now, as far as the trade side of things, there is the argument that because Rui is killing it in the Olympics right now, and because of the season he had that he was coming off of, maybe he raises his trade value. Right? The Lakers are trying to pull off trades. And you hear all the names, Jeremy Grant, right? Cam Johnson, Bruce Brown, Wendell Carter Jr., Walker Kessler, like all these names. A lot of those guys, you're going to have to give up Rui to get, right? And Rui's kind of one of the few guys that actually carries and has some trade value. So, it's something that is... If the Lakers do pull off a trade, Rui's probably gone. And you also have to give something to get something. But, like, for example, Jeremy Grant, right? The Portland Trailblazers want Rui in that deal based on reports. I don't know this personally. Again, just a fan. But, based on the reports, it looks like that's what they want. That they actually want Jared Vanderbilt and Rui Hachimura, which I would prefer to keep Jared Vanderbilt. I like Rui a lot, too. But also and I've said this before, like, Rui, I almost want Rui to get traded to the right situation so he can actually thrive. Because he's never really going to get the opportunity necessary while he's on the Lakers. Because, again, his natural and best position is the 4. Unless LeBron decides, like, hey, fine, I'll play the 3 or I'll play whatever, like, Rui's not going to get that opportunity. Also, he's not going to get the shot attempts and the touches necessary to really see what is the best version of Rui. He's one of the best mid-range shooters in the league. Right? Like, there's like 2 guys better than him in the league as far as true shooting goes, right? And you add that into his improved 3-point game, his physicality and being able to finish through the basket. His rebounding is also like 3 rebounds better when he plays the 4 compared to the 3. Right? Like all of those factors. He's not going to start over LeBron. He's not going to start over AD if they get another big man. Right? And then even when LeBron leaves, they're probably going to move AD to the 4. Right? Like whenever he decides to retire, they're probably going to center and move AD to the 4. Right, so it's just like, when is Rui ever really going to have that opportunity? When is Rui ever going to get the chance to, be kind of more of a focal point? So I personally, as a fan of Rui, I want to see him go elsewhere. So maybe he gets that opportunity, right? I think he in the right situation, I think he could be probably a 20-point a game guy. Like, I don't think that's that far fetched. I mean, the guy's already double digits, playing out of position and being the fifth guy. Like, imagine if he was like the third guy and actually got slotted in the proper position, actually got the proper shot attempts. Right? So, again, there is this sense of like the Olympics could potentially raise Rui's stock as far as trade value goes and what you could potentially get in return for a deal. Watching him perform, and if he continues to play well throughout these Olympics, people are going to notice, right? People are going to be like, hey, man, maybe Rui's the guy we should look into, which be good for the Lakers for a potential trade, right? And then there's the other side of just his continued growth and improvement, his continued development, right? And like, yes, there's chance, Rui, because he is still young enough to where even when LeBron and AD, ride off into the sunset, maybe now he gets his opportunity. But at that point, it's like 30, like, does he really want to spend another 3 years just riding the pine? Like, probably not. So again, anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you think that, like, yes, this is good, Rui playing excellent for the Olympics? Japan, do you think that, like, hey, this is really, raising his stock via trade? Do you think, like, hey, this is good? Or do you think, like, no, like, don't trade him because of how well he's playing? He's continually improving. He's continuing to grow and get better. Like, this is a guy that could potentially be a big factor for the Lakers going forward. However you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I would love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. It means you enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.